Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 2 of Debate Talk for You. I'm your host, Sal, and we're back. Today I have an awesome show lined up for you once again. Today's show is entitled Politricks and Gun Control. Once again, today's show is entitled Politricks and Gun Control. I'm going to introduce my special guest in a few minutes that has a lot of expertise in this particular area. And, of course, before I start, I just want to tell everybody I want to thank you guys for sending me your emails. I'm receiving emails from the UK, from Ghana, from Canada, complimenting me on the show and letting me know that they subscribe to the podcast and everything. And I appreciate you guys for spreading the word out there and, tuning into the show. Like I always say, without the people, there is no debate talk for you. So I got to thank you guys once again for spreading the word about the show and keep on taking notes. Like I said, it's all about independent studies and, taking the knowledge from the special guests I invite on the show, and you do your own independent research and studies. The Bible says you got to study to show thyself approved, and I'm a true believer in that, so make sure you guys study and, continue to get on that righteous path. Before we get into the show, I'm going to make a few brief announcements. As usual, send me emails at debatetalkforyou@yahoo.com. Sorry about that. That's debatetalkforyou@yahoo.com. Send me your questions, suggestions, and comments. Let me know what you think about the show. Also, if you want to keep up with the show on a regular basis, go to facebook.com/debatetalkforyou. That's facebook.com/debatetalkforyou. You can also download the shows on iTunes. Go to the podcast section. You type in the search box, Debate Talk, the number 4, and the letter U, and you'll see the show pop up absolutely free. You can download the show to your podcast, your iPhones, your iPads, and spread the word out there about Debate Talk for You. For all the new people out there that's listening to the show, welcome to the show. I hope that you continue to follow the show and check out the archives when you get a chance. Let's go to the archive section and scroll down, and you'll see all the shows that pops up. And if you like the show, just join Blog Talk Radio and just click the follow button, and you'll continue to check out what's the latest shows that's coming up on Debate Talk for You. Okay, let me introduce my special guest. You can check out my special guest on his website, straitwaytruth.org. You can also check out his Blog Talk Radio show. It's blogtalkradio.com/straitway. This is Pastor Dowell. What's going on, Pastor Dowell? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to hear your voice. Thank you for having me again on your show, Sal.
Definitely. Before we go into it, once again, let the people know other websites or other places they can find you on the Internet.
Sure. My main ministry website is straitwaytruth.com, and it's spelled StraitWaytruth.com. The live video feed of Scripture study every Tuesday night, 7 p.m., every Sabbath morning at 11 a.m., but every Friday night, call-in radio broadcast is at www.online-church.org. And, of course, you can find me also over there on YouTube just by simply typing in Pastor Dowell.
There you go. And for the listening audience out there that's checking out the show right now, you can call in at 877-280-9681. That's 877-280-9681. It's a toll-free number. You can call in whenever you get a chance. Press the number 1, and I'll add you into the conversation. Also, the chat room is open, so if you want to leave your comments or questions in the chat room, I can read them out to my special guests, and, I can say whatever the question is on the air. Okay, let's get this thing started. Once again, the show is called Politricks Gun Control. As we know, there's a lot of laws being changed out there, and there's a lot of things going on in the world with the laws and guns and stuff like that. When I put this topic together, I specifically thought about Sandy Hook and a lot of things that's going on with the law. And I know that Pastor Dowell has some videos as well addressing some of these issues. In your opinion, is our president pushing strenuous gun laws in this country?
No, I believe that not only has this president pushed for strenuous gun laws in this country, I think it's been the agenda of these, whoever the powers may be that are working behind the scenes with all these puppet presidents that we have in place. And from all the way up from Reagan up to this point, we can even go back even farther. But there is an agenda to actually disarm the American people, because when you look at it in the world that we're living in right now, the United States of America is one of the last staples of freedom. And according to history, anytime someone actually gives up their guns, a sovereign country, anyone, and that country is no longer free. And every single one of them regret actually giving up their guns. So I believe that there's a power grab that is actually going on, because we are 360 million people strong in this country. And as well as that, we also have about 300 million guns in this country. And what's amazing about this particular president right here, and you can tell that even though it doesn't seem like it, that the American people are waking up, you can tell by their actions more so than their words, because, the people are actually becoming very fearful to actually say anything today, since everything is being so censored. But you can tell that every time this president opened up his mouth, every time he says something about any type of gun legislation or gun grabbing, the people vote with their feet. They go out and they buy every single gun they can get their hands on. The ammo is all but ran dry in this country. So I think that the powers that be, I always remember this from the doctrine of the military, is that the government is always years, 4, 5, 6 years ahead, and sometimes 10 years ahead of the people, and it takes the people some time to actually catch on to what's going on. But those who are in the know and those who understand how things work, especially veterans, since they were kind of like the people who have an inside track to what's really truly going on, the war is not so easily going to be pulled over their eyes. And so they are using this as an opportune time, this crisis right here, to make their move. And I believe that they're using Obama to make this move, simply because when you have a black president in office, people will be reluctant to actually criticize him and say that he's doing this because he's a black president. If it was a white president that was doing the same thing that this president is doing right now, then they would play the race card on him. So they're kind of reluctant, and they have like a gag order on them, and that's why he is able to actually run wild. Well, it seems like he's running wild with the policies that he's implementing, all the way from NDAA to refusing to let the prisoners go into Guantanamo Bay, lying about letting the people go in Afghanistan and bringing the troops home. This is a global agenda, and I believe that there is a serious push in this country to disarm the American citizens.
Now, for those you just mentioned, the NDAA, for those who don't know what that is, could you elaborate on the NDAA? What is that?
Yes, sir. That's the National Defense Authorization Act. And they did this about a few years ago. They started implementing this particular bill right here. It'll take me a little bit of time to go into it, but however, if you go to my YouTube page and type in Pastor Dowell and hit NDAA, I can actually break it down to you in probably about 15 or 20 minutes in easy terms for people to be able to understand. But it's a National Defense Authorization Act. And it also has to do with this particular government right here has an agenda to actually want to take away and to strip the rights of the American people. Our civil liberties are being eroded every single day, ever since this hot point that they used for 9/11. That's where we're standing at now. And it seems like everything that goes on in this country, they're using as a crisis in order to try to bind the American people with their draconian, that's the words that people have been using lately, laws. and these are actually no laws whatsoever at all. Before I continue on here, I'd like to make this statement right here. It's amazing that we continually to see the people who they call law enforcement officials. I call them officials because there's really no rule of law. We just saw this guy, Chris Donner, who actually went out and started taking the law into his own hands and went out and actually allegedly killed a few people. And we saw the LAPD in San Bernardino police force actually become judge, jury, and executioner without exercising due process in this country. So there's no particular rule of law left in this country whatsoever at all. And the people need to wake up and understand and see, Sal, that there's a great divide going on. It's just like the Bible says, there's rich and then there's poor, there's free and then there's bond. And they all but eradicated the middle class with the economic collapse that started in 2008. So when if you go to my YouTube page and you check out the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, in about 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, I can actually break it down to you and give it to you in a nutshell to where you can actually understand. But I believe we've even moved even farther from that. And they've gone on to greater or greener pastures because these people are tasting victory.
Yeah. I did some research, and I've read also that they're trying to have laws against social media, like what we're doing right now, Blog Talk Radio, and expressing ourselves. They're trying to come up with all kind of different type of laws to shut down a lot of things for people interacting on the internet, stuff like that. It's getting crazy out there. I believe we have a call already. Hold on for a second. 615-688. You're live on Debate Talk for you.
Hello?
Yes, how you doing? You're live on Debate Talk for you. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do. My name is Sister Rainey. I actually know Pastor Dowell very well, and he is my pastor.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, Pastor Dowell.
Hi, Sister Rainey.
I have a question for you, Pastor. It's something I'm so glad you guys are debating this because I've been wanting to ask you about this, but it just never came up. My question is, I had written a letter to one of my friends, someone who I met along the road, on my travels, and I had told her that she better, they decided to hunker down in Maine, and I had told her that she'd better make sure that she stocks up on food, silver, and buy guns. And then we got into a conversation about the laws of gun control. And one of the things that came up, which I found very interesting, was that she had said to me, this happens all the time, this is going to change, this is something the government does, And then I started remembering what happened, like in the 1960s. I don't know all that happened, with the assassination of JFK, and they were going to change the firearms and federal laws because they didn't want any foreign weapons in the country and blah, blah, blah. And then I remembered what you said, that every time they put out a law, they write a new law to superimpose the old law.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like if they say, okay, the government we're the only ones that are going to have guns, but then they say, okay, we're going to put bureaucracies in place so that people representing the government will also have those same weapons. Will have access to the same weapons, but like a citizen, or as you would call us, a pedestrian, would not have access to the to getting those same weapons. And then something would happen, a big crisis would happen, or something like a Watergate scandal, or Fast and Furious, or Wide Receiver, or whatever would happen, and then they'd pull back a little bit. And so my question to you is, what if, or is it even possible that the government is actually causing a stir, like a fear of gun laws? What is it possible that the NRA is in their back pocket, that all these gun agencies are actually their lobbyists and they're in their pockets to increase their bottom line, and everybody's running out here buying up all the ammo and all the weapons? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if they're creating a frenzy? Like you said, every time President Obama opens his mouth and talks about guns, they fly off the shelf. Is it possible is that even a possibility?
Yeah, that could be a possibility there, but I tell you what, when Sal asked me earlier about the NDAA, I'll give an example coming from that with your question. It has to do with the arrest and the detention of indefinite detention of United States citizens. Okay, now with that knowledge in mind, when we already said that they ought to pass another law to go ahead and succeed that, to go to another one,
right.
Our government is very smart. They've been doing this a long, long time. History proves how governments will respond and react. They have a thing called problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, they watch the reaction of the people, and then they also have the solution, or what they're doing is implementing a plan to see how things will happen. So that's the reason why they would test certain things. They would test human behavior to see how the society will respond and stuff. And so, and what they're doing, anytime Obama gets up there and open up his mouth, they're gauging the society. Okay. They're gauging the people to see if they're really, truly dumb, dormant, docile, and demoralized. They're trying to see if they're really still stuck in some type of complacent attitude or mindset, or if normacy bias is still has taken hold of their mind. But they use propaganda. And in that, and that's why I try my best to get these people to wake up and to understand and see the reverse psychology that they apply all the time. And of course, you know that myself and the elders here at Straitway, along with Pastor Fox, we try our best to do our due diligence to keep the people informed to what's going on, because they use propaganda, they use reverse psychology, and they will use this problem reaction solution to gauge the society to see how that they need to respond. Because, you know, our government didn't go out and buy the Social Security Administration, they didn't go out and buy 1.5 billion hollow point rounds just because they wanted to go out and go target practicing.
That's so true. So what you're saying is that they basically they know what the result of what they do and what President Obama says. They know what the result is going to be, and they want to see how controllable it is, or
yes, ma'am.
To what degree.
It's about the human behavior, because remember the statistics that I gave at the beginning of the show. There's approximately about 360 to 380 million Americans in this country, and America is one of the most heavily armed civilizations, or let's say countries, or whatever you want, dictatorships, or whatever you want to call it, in the free world. And it's not going to be easy to take away the guns of these people, because just like Barack Hussein Obama said, right. You know, these people cling to their God and they cling to their guns, and rightfully so.
That's right.
You can listen to these people's words and tell that these are infiltrators. Our government has been infiltrated, has been taken over, and the people that are actually up there that are puppet masters, that are playing government and acting like that they are the politicians for this country, are actually outsiders. They have nothing to do with the government that is written down in the Constitution. That's the reason why the founding fathers of this country, no matter what their religious affiliation or background was, they did derive a lot of their laws and their understanding of those laws, a lot of their understanding of their laws, not every single one of them, but when you get to bills like the Second Amendment, that's biblical, that's Bible. And so they were trying to protect us from a tyrannical government, trying to literally regulate us and take over us and go wild. And they found out the only way that the other amendments or the Constitution in itself could actually be supported was by the edge of a gun barrel.
Wow. Because we are the people, and the government works for us. And
Thomas said in a quote, "The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and to bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government."
Yeah, caller, thank you for your call. And once again, the phone lines is open. The number is 877-280-9681. It's 877-280-9681. This is about you, the people, getting information out there. So if you want to call in, the number is, once again, it's toll-free, 877-280-9681. Press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. Now, I guess the question everybody wants to know, are you a gun owner, and how long have you been trained to use them?
Well, my dad started me off very, very young by giving me some familiarization with weapons prior to me going into the military at 18 years old. I have a 10-year experience in the military, the regular Army. I was a paratrooper in the United States Army for over 10 years in the 82nd Airborne Division, which is the largest airborne division in the free world. And that division is trained to deploy anywhere in this world, land on the ground, fight, and win the battle within 18 hours. I also trained a lot of what people would deem as special forces. I trained the Navy SEALs, the Special Forces, Marines, Force Recon, Delta Force, CIA at the Joint Readiness Training Center while I was at Fort Polk, Louisiana. When I was stationed in Germany in the 3rd Infantry Division, the Germans have a badge called the Schutzsneer. And that Schutzsneer is you qualify on 25 different foreign weapons. And I qualified expert on 25 different foreign weapons while over in Germany, and I was an expert here on the weapons here in this country in the military. And, yes, I do own guns, and I advocate everybody in our congregations to own guns. I'm a big gun advocate because the guns are the modern-day sword, the same sword today because, let me say this, it's done improved since the disciples have had swords even in Christ's day when he was around. So I'm a big gun owner, I'm a big gun advocate, and once a year I actually teach people who have no familiarization whatsoever at all. I teach them, myself and Pastor Fox, a few other brothers, we teach them familiarization. We take them to the range. We actually give them professional instructions in how to handle guns, how to safeguard yourself with guns, how to shoot guns, and how to eliminate the target if necessary or the threat if necessary.
Yeah. Wow. So you're very well versed in that department.
Yes, sir.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Once again, the number is 877-280-9681. My special guest is Pastor Dowell. The topic today is called Politricks and Gun Control. For those who just joined in, feel free to call in the show. Press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. Now, a lot of gun owners are against the new laws the governments are trying to pass. What do you think will happen if it officially becomes law to take away guns? What do you think is going to be the reaction of the people?
Well, the first thing is going to be the reaction of the people is an outcry because I do not believe for 1 minute, Sal, in this country, no matter what laws that they pass. See, even though that this government that we have today does not operate by the rule of law, there are people in this country who still believe in the rule of law and people who stay informed about the rule of law. And anytime they pass a law that is unconstitutional, the people need to know that is no law whatsoever at all. So civil disobedience, and it's really not even classified as civil disobedience when it's an unlawful order or it's an unlawful law. So that law is really not a law whatsoever at all, and the people do not have to obey that. Now, can you expect this government or can you expect people to do right by you simply because they have laws that they have passed and they put pen to paper? Well, the criminals don't obey laws. They could care less about what law is on the book. I'm not saying that the people are criminals, but if they're passing a law and they're making a law that is against the Constitution and is an unlawful law, you do not have to obey that, and the people need to understand that. Just because you have people in so-called leadership positions and stuff, anytime that they go against morality, anytime they go against civility, that civilization is supposed to be able to run by and stuff, they need to be informed to know where they need to draw the line in the sand. And I don't think for 1 minute, at least with the type of people I know, that they're going to give up their guns at all, not a one of them.
Yeah. Wow. I believe we have another question here. 847. You're live on Debate Talk for you. You have any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question for Pastor Dowell.
All right, go ahead.
It's very clear that... Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
It's very clear that there is a new world order being formed that is very reminiscent of the one world government that is formed in the book of Revelation. And, Pastor, I just want to know what you think America's role will be when this one world government that the Antichrist controls. What do you think America's role will be in that scenario?
Well, I think right now that, number one, they're working on destroying America, the powers that be. Everything is going back as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. All of this great empires and everything that started overseas and they're going to end back up overseas. America is one of their thorns in the side right now. The powers that be are finished with America. They had a great run with America. They made a lot of money with America. They were able to do a lot of things with America. But as you can see, according to when Bill Clinton was in office, they started all of these, I call them ABC alphabet suits, GAFTA, CAFTA, NAFTA, and started all this free trade and they started outsourcing all the jobs overseas. That was the beginning. And, of course, people are not familiar whenever there's an eroding going on in society. They're not familiar that this thing starts off slow, kind of like the proverbial frog in the bucket. But then as it starts to heat up, a lot of people begin to get aware and see exactly what's happening. But the frog itself is still paralyzed and still clueless as to what's going on. And that's why we're out here shouting to the rooftop to warn people and let people know exactly what's going on, because we're on the outside looking in and can tell people exactly what's going on. Now, America, pretty much, in my personal opinion, is going to be what they call not even too much of an influence when it comes to this New World Order, because, again, we are not an industrialized nation anymore. We're not producing anything. We're a nation of consumers. The debt is killing us. And whatever it may be, I think personally that they're going to try to get it either back in the hands of the Roman Catholic Church or either the Zionist Jews. Both of them are vying hard for it, along with the Muslims, to try to take control of this particular world that we're living in right now. And I don't think America is going to have any influence whatsoever at all, because if you look at it, our leaders, even though they may not say that they are, but they pretty much all act like communist people.
There you go. And,
all right.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, caller, for your question. The number is 877-280-9681. Once again, the show was for you to call in and ask your questions, so feel free to call in, 877-280-9681. Press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. Okay. Recently, the Pope has stepped down from the Catholic duties. What do you think that's all about? And, do you believe there's an agenda behind that?
Well, it's been anywhere between 400 to 600 years since a pope has actually resigned in office. And, of course, now you've got a lot of the people who thump the Bible and believe that they are prophets. None of them is coming out saying, "Thus saith the Lord." So there could be some biblical influence behind it, but I can't yet call exactly what's going on with it, because enough hasn't been put out. I don't see too much far as from this Pope right here taking place in the book of Matthew, but if people can speculate far as the book of Revelations of what this next Pope is going to be. We have a lot of chatter, but we don't have anybody who's actually have a divine revelation and an unction from the Holy Spirit or the Ruah to tell us exactly what's clearly going on. So the man is old. And it could have some significance, but if I tried to interject any thoughts into this at this particular time, Sal, it would be nothing more than just speculation. I couldn't give a concrete answer. All I could do is just get out here and give my personal opinion about it, which, I'm not too big on personal opinions. I like to deal in facts and not theories. But I think that this particular Pope right here, it could be something significant to it, but it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen in the upcoming days, especially if this next Pope starts lining up with some of the attributes and characteristics that are lined up in the Bible, spoken of in the Bible.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that America is going to be affected in any kind of way, shape, or form when it comes to the currency or monies or whatever, because, America has been in power for such a long time. Do you believe we're going to have a major collapse in this country?
The problem is this, Sal, is that people, they just don't understand the fundamentals of economics or money, the money system itself. We've already had a collapse in this country. And the collapse that everybody is looking for is this. They're looking for this collapse when the government stops printing money, the EBT cards are no longer coming, the trucks are no longer running to the stores, and their ability to be able to purchase goods and services with the dollar is not going to be there anymore. But what they're missing out on is that we are right now on what I call life support. Our economy is literally sick because it's all make-believe. Every bit of it. I mean, even the money that we own right now, that we earn for a particular wage is devalued. In 2008, they had a stock market collapse, which actually affected the bankers. And then what did our country do? They printed a bunch of money, $700 billion out of thin air. And who did they give it to? Did they give it to the people? No, they gave it to the bankers. And what did they do? They continue to keep running up the national debt. Now, I know they have the figures sitting there saying that we're at $16 trillion national debt, but they're not being honest with the people. They're not talking to the people about the unfunded liabilities in Social Security and Medicaid that actually push the actual national debt debt at one time. I thought it was like $105 trillion, but it's up to like $211 trillion just on this country alone. So we are already in a collapse because we do not have any answers whatsoever at all for this debt. The only answer that President Barack Hussein Obama and the Congress has is to print more money. Now, you know just as well as I do that if we start practicing the same kind of fundamentals and the same type of attitude, and we started trying to do the same thing that our government did, that they would throw us into jail. There will be no jubilee. There will be no bankruptcy laws or anything to protect us from racking up that kind of debt. But our only solution is to print more money, print more money, print more money. So this system is propped up. And what I'm trying to do is tell and warn people and tell people right now, you need to understand and know the fundamentals of what sound money is, what is just weights and balances, because the Bible is true. You need to start taking advantage of this since they're slowly eroding our society and our economy. Take advantage of it while you can to be able to buy food and to store up and to preserve yourself and to get out of debt so they can't make you a debt slave, because you see just as well as I do what they're doing with college students. There's no jubilee in this type of environment right here because we are following the same history, the same historical history path as ancient Rome. And that's why I continue to keep saying over and over and over again, we are Rome. But they have no solutions whatsoever at all for this country as far as trying to solve the debt crisis. Are we collapsed? Yeah, we've already collapsed. They're just keeping it propped up, Sal.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you that just joined in, once again, the title of the show is called Politricks Gun Control. Welcome to the show. Once again, I see you guys in the chat room as well. If you have any questions in the chat room, you can type them in, and I'll read them to my special guest, Pastor Dowell. Once again, the number is 877-280-9681. That's 877-280-9681. This forum is for you, the people out there, to ask questions, so feel free to call in. Press the number 1, and I'll add you into the conversation. I believe we have another caller right now, 856. You're live on Debate Talk for you. You have a question or a comment?
Shalom, Pastor Dowell. This is Brother Ron from New Jersey. I actually have a question here. Shalom, Pastor. Mm-hmm. Now, with the way the economy is going and the decline, do you think that it is possible for a foreign enemy to actually touch down on U.S. soil and take advantage of the economic situation that America is in? If we continue to decline, do you think that one of the enemies of the nation of America will come and approach to try to take over at that point in time, seeing that they're weak?
You know, Brother Ron, this is the thing, again, I need for everybody out there to really, truly listen to me and listen to me very carefully as I begin to answer this question. What the people are waiting on, they're waiting for something that is easy for everybody to see. Let me try to explain it this way. In the military, while being able to train all these particular elite soldiers, I myself was one myself, they actually send in teams that actually go in and prepare the way for the major army to come in to do what you call damage. It's never reported on CNN, ABC, Fox News, and all like that, all the moving and workings that the Special Forces are doing, the paratroopers are doing behind the scene, or the Navy SEALs or Force Recon or the CIA. But what the world has their eyes on is this massive force called the Army in itself. When everybody sees, okay, now we know it's reported all over the news. We have Vietnam, we have Iraq, Desert Storm, and we have Desert Chill. We have all these other big wars going on. The world is focused on looking at the war as a whole. But what they're missing, Brother Ron, is this. They're missing, and I'm going back to your question, is that China already owns 1/3 of the land here in America. They're already buying up corporations here in America right now. We are in hock to China $5 trillion, and that's the reason why that they're not loaning us any more money. They're stocking up and storing up and buying up gold, tangible assets, while we continue to keep declining as a country. And what is our country doing about it? Nothing. Putting out more money, printing out more money, and we're watching all the rats flee the ship. So instead of people having their minds waiting for the major collapse, something that their senses can recognize, we need to learn how to discern well before then what's happening, what's taking place now, so that we can be prepared. And that's what we're about, preparedness. So we're trying to get the people's minds and their conscience free from thinking the way that they have been trained and conditioned to think, so they can be able to discern and see what is taking place right now.
Okay. So it's as you said, as with the rats fleeing the ship, they're all they're going to do is basically set up a new house inside another economy, which is better in a better standing than this one, and liquidate whatever assets that they have and merely just shift over. Whereas, the normal citizens in society won't even be able to, because they don't even know the basics or the gist, like you said, with the special forces. So truthfully, it's as if they're tying the knot. They're untying the knots while everybody's waiting for the whole
thing to fall. The enemy is already here. The enemy is already here. He has boots on the ground. They have been operating for some time. They have infiltrated our government and infiltrated it very well. That's the reason why we see the decline in morality in our society. Is why we're seeing our government that has been hijacked. That's why we're seeing the corporations all bailing out and going overseas, because the enemy is already here. They're already here, and they have been here. That's what I'm trying to get people to see. When I say rats fleeing the ship, you take a look and see what these billionaire investors are doing. Forget about what they say when they get up and stage play on these news medias and stuff. Watch what they do. What they do and how they invest is letting you know where their heart is. They're going to tell you one thing in front of the camera, but they're going to do another off that camera. So you get people like Warren Buffett and Jim Rogers and all these other investors, these billionaire investors, and, of course, with our hijacked Congress, you notice that even George W. Bush and all them, they all own land offshore. Why? Because you and I, we can't enrich ourselves with insider trader secrets like the Congress can. We can't do that. We have to make our wage and make our earnings by the sweat of our brow. But they get up there and get in there with their crony systems and stuff, and all the other people that are with them, they begin to enrich themselves while they're in office. So the enemy has already been here for quite some time, has already infiltrated the government. I am just trying to do my part in waking people up to get them to see, and put a defibrillator on their mind to get them to see what's getting ready to take place, but what has already taken place, and what the next step is going to be, and what they need to do. Because if they don't do something and they don't make preparation and do it fast, then they deserve exactly what they get.
All right, and thank you very much once again. Shalom, and have a great night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ron, I appreciate your call, brother. Thanks a lot. Once again, the number is 877-280-9681. It's a toll-free number. Feel free to call in with your questions. You know, the show is about you, the people, gathering information and asking those questions that need to be asked. So now is your time. The number is 877-280-9681. Just press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. Now, how can we prepare for a financial collapse in this country? How can we prepare for that?
Well, the way you prepare is, number one, by educating yourself. You educate yourself, you go back and you find out what has happened in history. Whatever's taken place in history, there's nothing new under the sun. The thing that was, it shall, and it is going to be, and it's going to happen again. And if you understand that man is really not all that complicated, they're going to repeat and do the same things again. And I often have quoted over and over and over again that if we continue to keep doing the same things that we've always done, it's insanity, because we are definitely repeating the same mistakes of the past. So the way that you prepare yourself is, number one, you have to understand financial, because even the Bible says that money answereth all things. So we need to understand what sound money is, what is just weights, and what's balances. I don't care what these people say, it's going to go back to that. Even though we live in America, who allegedly is supposed to have some of the greatest financial institutions that there is, who's supposed to understand what economics or economy is all about, it is utterly amazing to me that how even in college curriculums that they do not teach the students what sound money is. Now, the Bible teaches that a just weight, an honest weight and measure is gold and silver. The Constitution of the United States even says that gold and silver is the money that we should be using for a medium of exchange. So in order to prepare yourself, you have to understand what has happened to us in 1913 when we got hijacked as a country and stuff, and by the Federal Reserve or international bankers coming in and actually having people to actually give over their wealth, their store wealth, gold and silver, for fiat currency or worthless paper that is not backed up by anything. And this is the simple way. This is the most honest way that you can actually practice civil disobedience against our country, which has forsaken us and has done us in, is to actually start storing gold and silver. Now, I can't afford gold because it's out of reach. But anybody right now can drop $30 on a 1 ounce silver coin. I did a video just the other day showing the actual value of silver and how it has constantly gone up and up and up and up over the past 12 years while the dollar has devalued. And if people want to go find out more about that, it's there on my YouTube page.
Yeah. Make sure you check out the YouTube page. Let me know what it is again, the people that just joined in. Let them know what the YouTube page is.
Yes, sir. If you just type in Pastor Dowell, and that's pastor of a church, and my last name Dowell, Dowell, you can go over there and get all the education in the world about economics, social, religious, political, understanding of what's going on in our times today.
Yeah. We have another caller. They're coming in right now. 919, you're live on Debate Talk for you. 919, you have a question or a comment?
Would that be me?
Yes, that's you. How you doing?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to know because, there's so many different places to buy this. Where is a legit place that we can get, the best value when it comes to buying silver, the best value for our so-called dollar?
If you go to coin shops, they have an extraordinary amount of premium because those are small business people and they're trying to make a lot of money. So if you're going to purchase silver, there are many, many different bullion dealers out there. And you're not going to go to the mint because they stopped printing the 2013s this year for some reason, which is actually against the law. But if you go to places, and some of the places I've actually purchased some myself, is like APMEX, APMEX.com, or JMBullion.com, or GainesvilleCoins.com. All of those are some of the ones that even though they have a little premium, their premium is not as excessive, and it doesn't break your back like a lot of these other people do. And you can just pretty much weigh in between those three sources right there, which one you would rather spend your money at or invest in.
Yeah, because, like you said, there's millions of them. And
sure
I just want to say I'm a newly woke up person, but I love your channel. And, people need to wake up. They really need to wake up. It's I just feel like it's coming soon, real soon.
Yes, ma'am. Don't forget to buy some food.
I woke up a long time ago. Go ahead, Pastor Dow.
Don't forget to buy some food.
I'm working on that too. Working on that too. So trying to keep a balanced approach to everything. So.
That's right.
But yeah, I'll definitely, and I'm sharing your channel. I'm trying to wake up as many people as I can, and but it's hard when they're so asleep.
Shake the dust off your feet and go on and move to the next one.
Yeah, caller, I appreciate your call. Thanks again. Once again, this is your time. The number is 877-280-9681. There's a lot of great information being put out there, a lot of great questions being asked by the listening audience. Once again, the number is 877-280-9681. When you call in, press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. My special guest is Pastor Dowell. The topic today is called Politricks and Gun Control. Back to the guns. Why is it important for civilians to own a firearm?
Well, number one, for self-preservation. Because, and I can take it, let's go from a woman's viewpoint. There's not too many women out there there's any comparison whatsoever at all for a man. But one woman with a gun can control 50 men. The gun is actually the modern-day sword. Jesus even said it in himself in Luke 22:36, he that has no sword, let him sell his cloak and buy one. And so it's in us, it's part of our heritage, it's part of our culture as Israelites to not only possess the gun for the preservation of ourselves as well as our families, but the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America actually says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state and the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. So people need to have a gun for many reasons. Number one, mainly to protect themselves against a tyrannical government. That's the reason why that this country set it up. Number two is to protect themselves against any enemies, all enemies, foreign and domestics. And then number three, since most people have no hunting skills whatsoever at all, it's much more easier today to be able to kill game if you had to, and in order to survive with a gun, than to set a trap or to try to actually go out and try to kill one with a sword. So there are many, many reasons why we should have a gun, but I think those are the top three reasons: home defense, self-defense, and the number one main reason, according to the Constitution of the United States, is for us to keep and to bear arms in case our government decided it was going to turn against us.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, what about the whole Sandy Hook situation? What's your take on that? I mean, there was a lot of media attention brought to the Sandy Hook situation, and, you know, there's a lot of people saddened by it, and some people believe that that's a hidden agenda, you know, in order to take away guns as well. You know, what's your take on the whole Sandy Hook situation?
Well, I tell you, Sal, that Sandy Hook thing, I call it a literal fiasco because, to me, we got the same thing going on up there as we had with the 9/11. Nobody's really truly being honest about the official story. There's so many questions that needed to be answered, and nobody seems to know exactly what's going on. We're getting conflicting stories up there. You're getting one source saying, or the media is pulling out, that these people were shot and killed with an AR-15, but eyewitnesses said that this man or this young man had handguns. He was using handguns. The police was actually chasing somebody through the woods behind the school that we caught on live video camera. And so there are so many questions that actually need to be asked. I mean, the facts are this, and this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy fact. There was no, even still till this day, there is no school surveillance footage that has been released in reference to all these murders that is taking place upon the innocents up there. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, and just like with 9/11. And I don't think we're ever going to get the official story because, again, I think that it has to do with problem, reaction, solution. This environment, the type of people we're dealing with today, are not going to let what they call a good crisis go to waste, even though the collateral damage is innocent civilians.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of media attention, well, you know, with the whole Christopher Dormer situation, with the police officers and stuff like that. What you know, do you believe, like, what's your take on it? What happened with the whole Christopher Dormer thing? Do you think he just lost his mind and just went crazy, or something happened, you know, that caused him to do whatever he's doing? Is that a part of the whole agenda as far as taking away guns as well?
You know, Sal, everybody can feel the push. Nobody has to say a word, and you can feel the push in the spirit, like you're being pushed against, you're being harassed. And this particular guy was he was an officer in the military with an impeccable record. His lifelong dream was to be a police officer. He was a police officer, and he saw a Caucasian police officer beaten up on a civilian. He reported it, and the system went against him. My personal take is the reason why that the system wanted to eliminate him. See, he knew what he was up against. That's why, again, that they said that he went out and he shot all these other people. You know, look at our system. They actually killed a couple of civilians, shot a couple of women in process of trying to find this guy, playing judge, jury, and executioner. But I think the sole reason why there's such a hush from the president, a hush from the Congress, a hush from Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi is because this man, if he would have had the opportunity to get on trial, to stand up in front of a judge, with a camera and media all around. But since he's already what they would classify as rogue or somebody that's under control and going around, I believe he would have ratted out the system, and so they went ahead and went all out to make sure they eliminated this threat, because this guy would have told the whole free world exactly how the LAPD is still operating, even though he already had dropped a few lines by telling us that nothing has changed since the days of Rodney King.
Yeah. Once again, the number is 877-280-9681. You're now listening to Debate Talk for You. My special guest is Pastor Dowell. The topic is called Politricks and Gun Control. If you have any questions, once again, this is your time. The number is toll-free, 877-280-9681. When you call in, just press the number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation. We have the last 10 minutes of the show. We're winding down to the last 10 minutes, so feel free to call in. Now, how can we prepare for the trials and tribulations that's coming ahead? I mean, we can look and see there's a lot of things happening, and, you know, like you said, we got to prepare for all the stuff that's coming. How can we prepare for this, the trials and tribulations?
Well, number one, the best advice I can give in and out of everybody is keep the commandments. Obey and read your Bible, pray to the Most High Yahweh, and listen to people like me who is informed, who knows exactly what's going on. You know, I tell people over and over and over again, one of the best preparations is to get out of the population centers, because when the civil unrest and civil disobedience takes place, that's the last place you want to actually be at. Look at the example of what happened during Katrina, and how that whole entire thing it was just a literal fiasco. People resulted, and they reverted back to animalistic nature. And they had little gangs and little mobs going around perpetuating injustices against the old, raping women, as well as boys and men, stealing, robbing, pillaging. That is the nature that we're all faced with. And if you're stacked up like a bunch of sardines in these population centers and stuff, you know that's exactly what you're going to be faced with. So my opinion is number one, get and develop a relationship with the Father. Listen to people like me who know what they're talking about and what they're doing, and develop mutual assistance groups. Develop relationships with people, and instead of destroying them, build them up, because we don't have too much time left before all this takes place, and you're going to have to be around people who you can trust. You're going to have to be around people who you can depend upon, and that they have your back as well as theirs. And we're getting down to survival mode, and that's all there is to it. Even in the book of Revelations, it talks about how that there was a beast that was going to be cast out like a flood. That was actually going to be making war with the saints. So even then, we've got to have ourselves in a condition to where we are keeping the commandments, having a testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach, just in order to have the angel of the Most High Yah encamped around about us. So I think spiritually and having a perfect relationship with the Father is paramount in this. And then preparing yourself, getting yourself ready, and making sure that you are listening to someone who can lead. Because a real true pastor, if he's living right, he's doing right, he's going to lead you the right way. And think about it, Sal, if I was living in a city as a pastor, I wouldn't tell you to get out because I'm in the city myself. If I'm in debt as a pastor, I wouldn't tell you to get out of debt because I'm in debt myself. But if I'm doing all these things that are necessary, and the things that we see in the book of Acts, the apostles, about people having common unity, about people living in common unity, not having land, no man had nothing that he called his own. All we're doing is reestablishing the same principle that has already been from the beginning. So we need to develop strong relationships with people who we can trust. We need to be around people of honor, character, and great integrity, and not people who are stage playing, liars, and hypocrites, and as soon as the first sight of fear comes, they will kick the traces and run on you.
Yeah. We have another caller here, 740-740. You're live on Debate Talk for You. You have a question or a comment?
Yes, I do.
Go
ahead. Good evening, Pastor Dowell. I follow your website quite a bit there at Straitway, and I just have one comment, one question, and that is, being in the military myself, I fear for us military people that may sometime in the near future be asked or ordered to do things in the United States that a lot of us do not agree with. I'd like your thoughts on that. And then 2, what do you think about the small arms treaty that's coming up in March 22nd, or in that general vicinity, where Hillary Clinton and the president has said that they agree with that small arms treaty? There's many, many things in that small arms treaty, and one of them being that UN troops can come on U.S. soil to enforce that treaty.
Well, as a soldier on active duty, and I'm a veteran of 10 years yourself, which you already know, number one, you swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America to defend America, the country of America, and its people, its citizens, against all enemies, foreign and domestics. So that means that if any time your superiors give you an unlawful order, you don't have to obey it. You being in the military, you need to inform the other soldiers that's in there, because most soldiers don't even know what the Constitution is. They know it's a document, but they don't know what's in it. You are not to obey an unlawful order, and you are to disobey it and to actually practice disobedience in that area. Now, as far as these people passing this small arms treaty and allowing UN soldiers come up on the land, I hate to say it, and I said it once, I said it 1,000 times, we need to live in order to be able to fight a revolution, because the powers that be already know that a revolution is coming. And it's not for the faint-hearted. We're not like other countries. You can push us and push us and push us and push us, but it won't be long before the people get sick and tired of being pushed. And when they start taking food out of these people's mouths, and these children start starving, and when they start killing Americans on the street, and the military, that's what they're trying to do, see, because they know a lot of military soldiers won't fire upon American people, but an outsider would definitely fire upon an American citizen. So they're trying to desensitize y'all as active duty to not even know the laws of the land and expect for you to obey orders blindly from your so-called superiors. The best thing you need to do is educate yourself, educate the soldiers, start letting them know exactly what's going on in this country, start talking, getting dialogue going, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you for calling in to Debate Talk for you as well with your questions. We wanted
Can I make a statement, Sal?
Yeah, go ahead, Pastor Dowell. Go ahead.
The statement I want to make is we sit up here and we watch these politicians again and again and again, over and over and over and over and over. They make promises, campaign promises about we got hope and we got change. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. Makes no difference if it's Democrat or Republican. No matter what they get in, they all behave like rats, every single one of them. And we think and we get a heightened sense of awareness, think, okay, maybe this guy's going to do it. Maybe this guy's going to be the next one. And every time we get up there, we find ourselves getting burnt. We're watching our civil liberties erode more and more and more. And I tell you, I've read history books, and I've got bookshelves upon bookshelves full of history books. I have never read in the history books that any change has ever taken place in a civilization without a violent overthrow of the government. I've never read that. Now, am I advocating that? Am I talking about that right? No. But I'm telling you, if things continue to keep going, we don't have to worry about people saying it and talking about it. It is going to happen. It ain't a matter of if. It's a matter of when. You either going to live free or you're going to serve on your knees. That's the one thing. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, after almost 400 years of chattel slavery, this black man is not, I'm not going into no slavery. I ain't going into no slavery for nobody at any time in my lifetime. We had enough of that mess. I'm free, and I'm going to be either live free or I'm going to die free. And I think that every man out there needs to search his own heart and needs to search his own soul and stop talking tough and playing all these games and stuff and start really preparing yourself, getting yourself ready spiritually and naturally for what's coming.
Yeah, wow. Once again, Pastor Dowell, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Putting out that information out there to the listening audience, people in the chat room. I want to thank you guys for still interacting as we speak right now in the chat rooms, and all the callers that gave, awesome questions out there. I want to thank you guys. Pastor Dowell, just put out your information once again for those who joined in later, your websites and how they can check you out on social media.
Sure. Our main website is www.straitwaytruth.com, and it's spelled STRAIT. WAYTRUTH. Also, myself and Jason DeVore have a social media network called freespeak.net. Freespeak.net. www.freespeak.net. It's something similar to Facebook. You can go over there and not have to worry about government regulation or intrusion or all your information being sold because we don't ask for any. You can go over there and check out this social media network. If you'd like to see our live services broadcast every Sabbath at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, you can go to www.online-church.org. That's online-church.org. And my YouTube page is Pastor Dowell. Just go to YouTube, type in Pastor Dowell, and you're able to contact me. I appreciate you for having me on, Sal. I'm honored to be able to be a guest here on your show.
Yeah, once again, I want to thank you for joining the show. And for those of you who like this show, spread the word. Once again, today's show is entitled Politricks Gun Control. Spread the word about Debate Talk for You. You can send me an email at debatetalkforyou. Once again, debatetalkforyou@yahoo.com. Also, you can keep up with the show on Facebook.com/debatetalkforyou. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, have a good one, and God bless.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.